Just focus on your breath. It is the universal starting line for almost every meditation practice on the planet. The instruction comes with a heavy implication that inhaling and exhaling with quiet awareness is a reliable escalator to deep, compounding peace and unbroken focus. Yet behind the scenes of all that supposed tranquility is a harsh reality. Millions of people sit down, try to follow their breath, and immediately crash into a wall. They end up dealing with completely blocked focus, unexplained tension headaches, or sudden spikes of anxiety. When this happens, the standard reaction is instant self-blame. You assume you lack discipline, you can't quiet your mind, or you are simply bad at meditating. But you aren't the problem. The object you are trying to focus on, the breath itself, has hard-coded structural limits that cause the entire meditative system to crash. To understand why this happens, we have to look at a foundational rule of attention. Human focus naturally anchors to and takes on the exact properties of the object it observes. The breath is a physical, discontinuous biological process. You inhale, pause, exhale, pause again. If you map smooth attention onto that broken pattern, your focus constantly restarts, breaks, and fluctuates. This rhythmic fluctuation physically rejects deeper, highly stable states of absorption. The continuous stillness required for those deep states just isn't there. Tying your focus to a discontinuous biological rhythm creates an inescapable structural ceiling. It permanently caps how deep your meditation can actually go. This structural mismatch is exacerbated by the way the brain interacts with the autonomic nervous system, the biological autopilot that typically manages your breathing. When you direct intense conscious attention toward an automatic process, you override and disrupt that autopilot. This creates a physiological conflict based on a simple principle. Where attention goes, physical tension inevitably follows. As you focus, the muscles in the airway tighten, your breathing becomes labored and unnatural, and the steady flow of oxygen is disrupted. This tightness creates a physical bottleneck. Because the body cannot release this accumulating tension downward through a relaxed, natural breath, the pressure has only one direction to move. It migrates upward. This upward surge of internal pressure results in the specific physical symptoms many practitioners complain about: intense forehead pressure, unexplained headaches, and a sense of internal imbalance. The effort to relax via the breath ironically transforms a passive biological function into a source of active physical stress. If you push past the tension, you eventually hit the extreme end stage of breath focus. As you concentrate, your breathing often becomes incredibly subtle. It grows faint, and sometimes it temporarily pauses altogether. Your subconscious survival brain constantly monitors your oxygen levels. When it detects this sudden, prolonged drop in oxygen intake, it trips an instant alarm. The primitive brain asks one very specific, panicked question: am I dying? That question triggers an immediate psychological crash. The practitioner experiences intense fear, vivid and destabilizing internal imagery, and the complete shattering of calm. Pushing breath focus to its extreme limits triggers the body's most violent survival alarms. It is an incredibly jarring experience, and it is exactly why so many people quit the practice permanently out of fear. Look back at your own history with meditation. If you have struggled, consider those struggles through the lens of these mechanical and biological failures. Hitting a wall, developing a sharp headache, or feeling a sudden rush of panic during a sit is highly predictable biology. It is not a personal lack of spiritual discipline. The breath functions as a biological tool with strict, built-in limits, rather than a boundless path to enlightenment. Recognizing these hazards changes the entire equation. It frees you from the heavy guilt and frustration of feeling like you are permanently stuck at a ceiling you can't even see. But this leaves us with a massive problem. If breath meditation inherently contains inescapable structural limits and severe physiological risks, how is it actually supposed to be used? Stripping away our false assumptions about the breath is the necessary first step to finally breaking through that ceiling. The exact mechanics of how to do that is what we will explore in the next episode.